Hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Goo Review. I'm Moose, and today we have another knife review. This one's pretty popular. This is a Cold Steel Code 4. The Code Steel Code 4. Really neat knife. A lot of things to like about this. We'll get into them. So we'll check out the stats right now, and then we'll get back into the blade. So the overall length of this knife is 8.5 inches. The blade length is 3.5 inches long. The handle thickness is, the blade thickness is 0.13 inches thick. The overall handle length is 5 inches. The handle thickness is 0.35 inches. And the weight of the knife is 4.15 ounces. So actually pretty light for the size. Yeah, I mean, it could have been much heavier depending on the materials, and we'll talk about the materials. So let's get right into the blade. Obviously, you can see the name of the blade, the Code 4. This is a hollow grind satin finish blade, which they've done a really nice job on. It almost seems polished. It's just absolutely beautiful. It is a plain edge blade, sweeps up, and this is the clip point variant. The knife comes in a couple different blade shapes, so you can get the clip point, you can get the drop point or spear point, I believe it's called, and then it also comes in a tanto. Besides that, you could also get a variation of different edges. So this is the plain edge blade. You can also get one with a full serrations, and then you can also get a combo edge where part of it is serrated and the other part is a plain edge. Looking on the other side of the blade, we have the Cold Steel logo as well as the blade steel, which is American-made CTS XHP, and it was made in Taiwan. So this is a Taiwanese knife, but it uses American blade steel. So, yeah. Overall, the blade shape is very functional, very utilitarian. It isn't quite a concaved clip point, so it's a very straight edge clip point, and it has that swedge up top just to give it some looks. I will say that the spine is a 90-degree spine, so for any of you who want to use it kind of in a camping way for camping, you can easily throw sparks with a ferro rod or shave some finer tinder, so that's pretty nice. The other part is you kind of have a 90-degree spine at the bottom of the blade there, so you could use that as well for ferro rods or whatever. There is a choil, which I always like on knives just for sharpening purposes, the ease of sharpening, so you'll be able to get the full length of the cutting edge sharp. And other than that, it is a hollow grind, and it has dual thumb studs, but they're the adjustable kind where you take the flat head and you can adjust it to one side or the other, or even depending on if you're a lefty or a righty. So moving into the handle, the handle is really nice. It's super ergonomic, very comfortable in this fashion here. Your two forward fingers fit into these finger choils. It has a nice finger guard there, and then it curves down, and your other two fingers lock into this flat. Boom. The jimping's a little different than you'd see on any other knives. It's actually cut into the handle scales, and it doesn't seem very functional at first glance, but when you actually get your thumb on it, it actually works really well. My thumb just sinks right into it, and I'm locked in, partially too because of the really nicely designed finger choils there. It just works great. I don't know, it feels really comfortable and nice. Very ergonomic. Really impressed with that. Moving into the handles are a hardened aluminum that really helps lighten the load and still gives it its strength and rigidity. We go into the back, we see that there is a pocket clip. It's not deep carry, but it is reversible, tip up only, so left and right, tip up only. Because the curved handle, you do get a curved pocket clip, but then they send you an extra pocket clip in case you want to change it to left-hand carry. It is a back lock, and it uses Cold Steel's Triad Lock, which is ridiculously strong. You can't go wrong with the Triad Lock if you're into backlock knives. There's no play, no wiggle, and it's just solid in there. This thing's just one of the strongest locks, if not the strongest locking mechanisms for a folding knife. So, and because it's a back lock and it's even on both sides, this is a true ambidextrous knife. So for lefties, you might want to check this one out because it's great. The other thing with having the handle scales out of aluminum, they didn't need to put in liners so much, and it really thins out the profile of the knife looking top down. And this is really reminiscent of other knives that kind of do the same. It reminds me a lot of the Kershaw Knockout. Knockout has a very thin profile, even though it's spring assisted. And it had similar materials with the aluminum handles. So I really like aluminum handles for that reason, because it can still be light, but you can also be very thin with it. So really nice job with that. That being said, it does have a lanyard hole, and I think that's more or less all the features of the knife. It looks like we have the hardware is all silvered out. We just have some screws in the back here, and then the pivot pin, and then I think these are just pressed together with everything being screwed together. So pretty sweet. So now let's look into comparing it to some other knives. We have the H&K Access. We have the Sypderco PM2, Sypderco Polestar, really cool new knife, and the Kershaw Blur Tonto variant. As we look, well, I guess we'll do it from here because that's the cutting edge. It says it's a 3.5-inch blade. As you can see, most of these are about 3.5 inches. So, except for the Polestar. The Polestar is the shorty. Handle lengthwise, obviously it's a larger blade, so it has to accommodate, so it has a longer handle. Very similar to the PM2. The H&K Access is really close to that as well. And then the other knives are falling slightly shorter, which is okay. So there's that comparison. Then we compare the blade thickness. As we can see, looks about the same. I almost want to say the Cold Steel is just a slight bit thicker, but that might just be because of color. Handle-wise, though, the handle is thinner than the PM2. H&K Access. Looks like the blade stock on the H&K is thicker. Handle-wise is thicker. Polestar looks close, but I think the Cold Steel is thicker. And the handle length, handle-wise, it's thinner. And it looks like the blade stock, the Kershaw is thinner, and handle-wise, the Cold Steel is thinner. So there's that comparison. So if you're looking for a really slim knife that you want to slip in and out of pocket, that's the other thing. When I was using this, because of the texture of the handle, it's very nice for sliding in and out of pocket, and because it's thin, you won't feel like a bulging out from your thigh. It sits very flush and flat against your thigh, and it's very comfortable because there's really no other like points of raised points or textures that would maybe annoy somebody. But that could also add problems with our next test, which is the ugly brown glove test. This is where the one thing that smoothed out aluminum handles might lack in, and right off the bat, I can tell the texturing, there isn't much grip at all. So if I'm trying to open this, my hand might slide. Luckily, the actual action of opening this is actually really smooth. Now holding it, the finger choils actually lock me in pretty well. The jimping doesn't seem very effective anymore with this cloth glove, but you know, it slides a little bit on the top, but my fingers underneath are actually locked in pretty well. So I don't know, not the best option there. The lock bar is smoothed out, but it's easy enough to find and disengage. When I'm closing it, I do lose some grip. Luckily, it has that flat spot there on the tang of the blade, and that if I keep my finger in that choil, it'll stop there. But it's better to do two hands on a lock blade or a lock back. So I don't really think this one, it doesn't not pass. This one barely passes. I give it a 60% on the ugly brown glove test. So nice job, barely passes. Maybe they could add some texturing or more of a matte finish or something. But that's about it. So there you have it, guys. This is the Cold Steel Code 4. Super sweet looking blade. Very nice, elegant, but yet practical and functional. That Triad Lock is a beast. And really slim. So if you're looking for that slim, larger folder, there's definitely a larger EDC pocket knife. But it is around 4 ounces. So, and price-wise, you can find it for about 70 to 80 bucks. So check it out. Check out the eye in the upper right-hand corner to some of my other videos. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you outside.